Start that timer.
Welcome back to Microwaveables on a Wednesday. I'm Frank Smith here with Austin Mills.
Good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday. We got some hot topics for you guys today.
We got loads of drama today. You would think it's a summer and there's nothing to talk about, but we're wrong every single time. There is tons of drama, and we're going to start off with Shaq and Kobe. We thought this was done 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's still going. Pull it out.
I have 12 chips here for you today out of the microwave. 12. And there really is 12, and they are kind of stale, so I'm not going to eat them.
They don't smell good either.
They smell fine. They smell fine. But 12 chips is what Kobe said he would have won with Shaq if Shaq was in the gym, if Shaq had the work mentality that he had.
Whose side are you taking on this?
I got Shaq.
You got Shaq?
Yeah.
How?
I got Shaq because, and we should take it a step further first. Shaq did respond to this. Shaq said, you don't get statues outside of Staples Center for not working hard. We would have won 12 chips if you would have passed the ball, especially in 2004 versus Detroit. So Shaq clapped back there.
Well, the craziest part about this is they've been beefing like this basically their whole career. Since they've been playing together, they've been beefing, and they were still winning games. They were still winning championships, which just shows you how good the Shaq-Kobe dynamic was, because even though they were beefing, they were still winning, which most of the time we've seen in the past doesn't work. LeBron, Kyrie, a lot of duos and trios in the past that have beefed have not won games, and especially championships. Shows you how good Shaq and Kobe was.
Well, Kobe might have been right in the first part. If Shaq did have Kobe's work ethic, which is unfair to suggest that, everyone's just going to have your work ethic, maybe they would have won 12. I mean, 12 is a huge number, so probably not. But the second part is not fair. Saying, if you would have been in the gym, Shaq was in the gym. Shaq is dominant. Shaq was gigantic and muscular and overpowering and dominant, and he's working hard. Maybe not to your level, Kobe, and maybe no one but Jordan's ever worked to your level, but don't tell me he's not in the gym. And he does have a statue, and he does have 5 rings, so, it's disrespectful.
Well, to Kobe's point, Kobe did mention, had Shaq worked as hard as Kobe worked, he would be the greatest player of all time, which I completely agree with. I understand not everyone has Kobe's work ethic because, Kobe's out of his mind in a good way. Kobe would sleep in the gym if he could, but if Shaq did that, Shaq was a little overweight when he played. Shaq could have spent more time in the gym. He would be unbelievable if he put in the time.
This is something we have to
in.
put in a note for as well. The first thing Kobe says in the video is this: Shaq will be the first one to tell you, if he had my work ethic, he'd be the greatest player of all time. Now, Shaq had the chance to respond, and he was not the first one to tell you. Kobe was wrong about that. He did not say, oh, Kobe, you're right, I would have been the best of all time. No, it was a shot at Shaq, and he's rightfully, hurt by it because it's disrespectful.
I don't think he was trying to take a shot at him, though. I think in the setting that it happened, he was asked a question.
He was trying to give a backhanded compliment.
Yeah, I don't think he was taking shots at Shaq. Shaq took it very personally and came back at Kobe. I think that'll be the end of it. I don't think Kobe's going to respond again, but I don't know. We'll stay tuned for that one.
How can you say this about a guy who's a 3-time Finals MVP? And
he was gifted. His size and the way he moved, obviously he was gifted. He spent more time in the gym. He'd probably be a little bit better. You can say that about anything.
And I'm sorry, I think I said 5 for Shaq. I meant to say 4. Kobe has 5, of course, which is probably why he feels so comfortable saying these things.
Yes.
Okay, moving on. We have
not one that we necessarily want to talk about this morning.
It's not something we want to talk about on a Wednesday morning, but it's something we need to talk about on a Wednesday morning. We have what you would think are pretzels. Hold that. And these are edible. You can eat that if you want. They are not pretzels. They're only pretzels on the outside. On the inside, they're a little bit nutty. They got some peanut butter in there, which brings us to Delonte West, who on the outside during his NBA career, aside of all the LeBron drama, we'll get that out of the way right away. I know you guys love that.
Which I still know, I don't think anyone knows if that happened.
No one knows.
Anyway.
On the inside, he's a little bit nutty, and it's not because of, something He tries to do, it's who he is. He has mental health problems. And the NBA's come a long way trying to solve some of these mental health issues. They actually enacted a new program on August 8th of this year, licensing players to seek the help of any licensed psychiatrist.
I think every team has to have
2 of them, yeah.
2 of them on staff. I mean, shout out to Kevin Love. I know Kevin Love was kind of a big enthusiast for all of this stuff, and it's a big jump for the NBA, for sports in general, because it's a huge problem we have right now.
It's a huge problem, and it's crazy to say, wow, you know, these players make so many millions of dollars, but they're not happy. You know, I guess the question now is, when you see Delonte West homeless several times over the past years, I mean, I know he denies it, but it's hard to deny these things when you just pictures of you every year being homeless. Yeah. What can we do to help the players that have retired? Now, they do have pensions.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, if you guys haven't seen it, there's a photo that came out of Delonte on the street, sitting down. It looks like he's homeless. We hate to jump to conclusions, but that's what it looks like. We've seen photos of him wearing Home Depot uniforms in the past. You know, I think definitely what we're doing right now is the right path, and helping guys maybe when they get to the league so these problems don't begin. But it's just, a lot of these guys aren't used to the money and the fame and the wealth that comes right when they enter the NBA, which leads to a longer lasting issue, which is what we're seeing here. Seeing a guy being homeless,
it's
kills
tough.
You to see.
It's tough, and it's something Adam Silver takes very seriously. You know, I'm sure this photo will get back to him, and he'll try and figure out this issue. He always seems to do a good job of these personal problems of his players. Moving on to number 3. We have some fresh cucumbers. I actually grew this cucumber in my garden. That's a shout out to myself. This cucumber was enormous. I'll post a picture here with my hand to reference it, but this was huge. I can't believe it came out of my garden. But we are talking about Boogie Cousins with these cucumbers. Can you guess why?
Because I have no idea.
Because he needs to be as cool as a cucumber if he's even going to stay in the league. Now,
that one a little bit of a reach, but.
A little bit of a reach. I just kind of wanted to show my cucumbers. I'm pretty proud of them. But this is very serious. Boogie Cousins is in some trouble right now. I'm sure you guys heard the tape of him talking about his son and how he's going to put a bullet through someone's head.
I'm not taking Boogie Cousins' side on this, because you cannot say something like that, especially to someone that you are close with, or directly saying it to, especially in 2019, especially to a woman. You cannot say things like this. I understand his frustration that his baby mama wouldn't release his child.
Now, can you explain this to me? That's his baby mama, but he did just get married, last weekend.
Well, so that's what the whole beef was. He was asking his baby mama to have his baby at his new wedding with his new wife. He wanted his son to see him get married.
Even if his son is like an infant.
Yeah, he wanted his kid there at his wedding, which I totally understand, regardless of age. And his baby mama was not letting it happen. He was cool in the beginning, and as soon as he realized that she was adamant about not letting the baby come to the wedding, he made a threat.
Okay. Now he's probably on a honeymoon right now.
Correct, possibly.
This has got to be the worst honeymoon of all time.
You know, and this is
TMZ is blowing this honeymoon up.
This is why I feel terrible for DeMarcus, even though he did an awful thing. I can see why he's frustrated right now. I mean, he just lost $40+ million, possibly ended his career. We don't know if another NBA team's going to pick him up ever again.
It's way more than $40 million too.
Yeah.
If you go back to his Pelicans injury,
yeah,
it's hundreds of millions.
So he's right now in a very, very tough place. I know you guys might see things on the forefront and think everything's okay with these NBA players. They have a lot of money already. These guys go through a lot, especially with people asking them for money and people asking them for this and that. He's going through a really, really tough time right now. He probably said this out of frustration. This woman is recording him. I don't agree with this being released. This is an internal matter in his family. Obviously the threat is never okay, but they need to handle that internally. This should not be publicized. He's going through enough.
He's going through a lot, and I'm going to tell you right now why he's going to be fine. Now, we don't even know if this is Boogie. but allegedly it is. And I'm going to guess that he did not consent to being recorded, which is illegal in the state of California. I'm assuming he's in California. I think his wedding was in California. So you cannot just, act on that if you are a judicial person. What can happen, though, is you can't consent to it in the case of Donald Sterling. You might say, oh, well, Donald Sterling didn't consent to being recorded when he was saying all those derogatory remarks. He actually did. If you listen to the new podcast that came out on 30 for 30, Donald Sterling consented to being recorded. And then, of course, in the interview, I don't know if everyone remembers that interview where he kind of doubled down on everything he said about Magic Johnson. But it's a different case. I don't know if you can actually take legal action against Boogie.
It's just not, I don't think it's right. This should just be handled internally instead of externally to the world.
All right, we're going to shift from the NBA to the NFL, which it's almost about time. We have nothing in the microwave because this story needs to cool down. This is Derek Carr and Antonio Brown.
Back to AB. We love talking about AB on Microwaveables.
We do. Hard Knocks aired last night. And, everything seems fine with Antonio Brown, and he's really not playing in these games. He's kind of just buddy-buddy with John Gruden the entire time. But here's the question I want to ask you. Which week will we end up turning on Derek Carr, or John Gruden, or both?
We know we're going to have some Raider issues coming up shortly. Let's just say this. Let's just say at least he wasn't on the Colts, because that would have been an absolute disaster. Maybe he was on the Colts, and Andrew Luck did his thing. What's going down?
He's pissed. He's pissed. He's pissed because it hurts him, and he's all about him. I am going to say Antonio Brown and the Raiders will start off 0-3, and he will turn on Derek Carr or John Gruden in Week 4. It's not going to be pretty. He's going to say things like, I need the ball more, we need to run more plays for me. It's all going to be about him and why they're going to win if they do these things. It's going to be bad. It's going to be early.
You're going to get some Raider hate mail for this take. Raider fans are not going to appreciate this take.
Well, listen, I've lived it. I've lived it as a Steelers fan. He sat out a game because he wasn't happy. He wasn't even hurt.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, and it was a game that could have got us into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was a do or die game.
Yeah, so you're not happy.
No. We still won the game, did make the playoffs. But
I definitely think he'll turn at some point. I don't know if it's going to be Week 3. Week 3 is a little early, in my opinion, but honestly, who knows with the helmet situation and everything going on so far.
Give me a week.
It could happen in 1, but I'll go with 5. I'm going to go Week 5.
I think the over-under, if Vegas were to set a line on this, would probably be something closer to like 9.
That's fair.
Yeah.
About halfway through.
Yeah, just about.
I feel like that's fair.
All right, to the comment club. We have here with at @s_dot_me. We had a post up about guessing players' ages and how you're going to feel old. This post killed it on our Instagram. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. We're only going to show you the Steven Adams one here because he said this. Steven Adams got me, WTF, and the reason is Steven Adams is actually, Steven Adams, is younger than Anthony Davis. I had that written wrong. But that should surprise some people.
Steven Adams looks like he's 46 with 8 kids. Steven Adams looks like an old man. When I found out his age, I was absolutely shocked. I guess that's what happens when you grow up with 10 brothers and sisters. You get stressed out and you look older, and all the facial hair and all that stuff.
Yeah.
He's like 22.
Yeah. No, he's older than that.
23,
but
24?
If you go to pictures of Steven Adams at Pitt, he looks like a child. That was like...
Does he?
Yeah, he looks like a child. And he only played 1 season, but you can kind of see like the beard really does a number on his age.
Yeah.
And of course the tribal tats and gaining 50 pounds.
The NBA probably got to his head a little bit.
Yeah.
So, do you remember how old he was?
Coming out, he was 18, 19, and now he's been in the league like 5 years. He's probably like 23.
So
we don't actually say the ages in the graphic. We just say who's younger.
23, 24 is nuts. It's a lot of money to make.
Okay, one Tito 3000. Nice name. I like that one. He said, but Shaq's ones were useless. Now this graphic is about the total number of and ones. LeBron James is the leader of all time, and Shaq was on this list of like the top 5. And you know, everyone loved this comment. It's a top comment, and he said, "Yeah, I mean, Shaq's on this list, but his and ones were useless," meaning he wasn't making the free throws.
Honestly, a good point.
It is kind of a good point. There should be another list for total and ones and making the free throw after. That's something we should actually make. I'll look into that today.
I was just talking to someone last night about Dwight playing on the Lakers. Actually, was talking to an NBA player about whether. I'll keep that one private for now.
Okay.
Whether Dwight was going to be super effective this season, because I'm super curious. I don't know if Dwight's going to be good. I don't know if Dwight is going to be prime Dwight or if Dwight's going to be crazy Dwight. So I asked him, is he going to be dominant inside? Does he have a chance? Let's say he plays the best season ever.
Yeah.
But they made a good point. It's like, even if he's dominant inside, if people foul him, they're just going to go hack a Shaq, hack a Dwight. He can't make free throws. He's never been able to.
He's going to be hard to play in the fourth quarter. They're probably going to have to play small ball.
I've seen Dwight work out on his own in a private gym, shooting threes and free throws and knocking down threes and free throws.
There's a video we just posted the other day of him bang. They weren't NBA threes, but they were like college threes.
He was still knocking them down,
Yeah.
but it shows you.
He's going off the glass.
It shows you how much of a mental thing free throws are, because these guys just get in their own head, and when they get to the line in the game, it just completely goes
People
south.
always underestimate too how tired you are by the fourth quarter. I mean, it's really tough to do that.
By the fourth quarter, by the first minute.
Yeah.
You run up and down an NBA court.
Yeah.
It's tough.
So let's guess some over-unders here. The season's still pretty far away.
We got one more coming.
Oh, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to snub you. We got one more to go. Underscore RJAZRL. Got to work on that name. He said, actually, does that matter? Shit would have gotten smacked into the stands if this man stayed on him. Now, he's talking about the video of, I don't know if he's a midget or not, but Manny Fresh playing against the kid Gowie in one-on-one. Did you see this video?
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so he pretty much takes the kid Gowie off the dribble and makes a shot. Now, he's saying, is this bad defense, or could you actually play being that small?
I mean, I feel like the obvious thing here is you can't play that small. The smallest we've seen is Muggsy. What was he, 5'?
Our captain said something along the lines of, it doesn't matter how small you are if you have the skills.
Ah, I gotcha. I mean, I see where he's going with this. I don't see any.
I mean, Manny Fresh is good.
He's good. He's good.
Manny Love, I'm sorry.
Manny Love.
Manny Love, I'm messing his name.
He's a baller, but I mean, we see 6-foot guys struggling in the NBA. I don't know how tall he is. I wouldn't even be able to take a guess.
I mean, I will say this. To Kid Gowie, I hope you come on the show, but you got to D up. Come on, that was bad D. All right, now let's get some over-unders. First, we have the Sixers. Now, how this game works is the season is, of course, pretty far away, and this number might change, but Vegas sets a line for how many total wins each team is going to have. So the first one we have is the Sixers. Can you take a guess on that, Austin?
Oh my gosh. All right. Well.
Now let's back up. You said the Sixers are not going to be better than last season.
I think they're going to be worse. Do we know how many of the Sixers won last season?
Noam will check that.
Okay, we'll have Noam check that. All right. So
it's probably high 40s, low 50s.
Let's say 82 games. They're also in the East, which you have to keep in mind. So whether they're better or not than last season, the East is worse regardless.
Yeah.
The East is awful this year. Let me just put that
disagree.
out there. There's 2 good teams in the East. Just putting that out there. That being said, you play every team in the East 4 times and every team in the other conference 2 times. I'm gonna go with. I would love to know how many games they won last year. 51 last year. Okay, interesting. All right, I'm gonna go 48.
48. This number is shockingly high at 55.
No.
That is the second highest of all teams. The Bucks are number 1.
No. Oh my. Second best in the league? No shot.
Well, like you said, the East is easier.
It is easier. It's definitely easier. They still got to play the Celtics. They still got to. You'll lose to the Heat one night, maybe a couple nights. You'll lose to the Bucks all of the nights, and then whenever you play the West teams, you're going to lose to the West. So.
Yeah. Okay.
48.
How about the Hornets?
Oh my God, the Hornets. Oy. I'm gonna go. Oh my God, that's a tough one. Hornets. They've no one. They literally have no one.
They got Terry Rozier.
well, Terry's a fourth role player on a normal team, so to have him as the star. Let's go, I'm going to say 26 for the Hornets. I feel like
It's a pretty good guess. The number is 23, which is
I was going to say 22 first, but I
the
felt
lowest
like
in the
that was
entire
low.
league.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty bad.
They're going to be at the bottom.
Yeah. Finally, we have the Mavericks. I think this one's interesting because, of course, we see the return of Porzingis.
Porzingis always makes me nervous because he's so fragile. He's so skinny.
He's put on some weight. You see him lifting?
Yeah, I saw. He's still skinny. He's coming off a bad injury. But that being said, him and Luka together, Tim Hardaway, they got a good team. They're also in the West, which is going to be a struggle. I'm going to go 38.
38. It's pretty close. It's 41.
Okay.
Yeah. I think people could sleep on the Mavs a little bit, though. I could see them getting really hot and grabbing an 8 seed.
Possibly. West is just so good, man. Everything is up for grabs.
I mean, every year we mark in the top 8 teams, and we usually do it by off-season acquisitions and your record last year, and then one team surprises you every single year.
Yep.
All right. Now get this. ESPN has the body issue coming out, and I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Who wants to look at the body issue? I mean, and then furthermore, who gets ESPN the magazine? Is that something anybody even gets anymore? So it's expensive. You have to buy this at, like, if you don't have a subscription, you have to go to a Walgreens and pay like $10 to get the body issue to look at a bunch of dudes and jack chicks naked.
Well, I think here's what it is now at this point. I think at this point it's more about the content, right? So we're living in a social world, obviously. Not that many people pay attention to magazines anymore, but the nudity of these athletes on social, I think, is a viral aspect. So if I'm ESPN, or I'm Sports Illustrated, sorry, I like the concept of the body issue.
Really?
I don't necessarily care for the male athletes, but the female athletes, I'm all about it.
So on it this year is going to be Chris Paul, Brooks Koepka, and Christian Yelich, just to name 3 of about 20 or so. I just don't need to see Christian Yelich swinging a baseball bat nude. I just don't need it.
Swinging his baseball bat.
Oh, I didn't even try for that one. I just don't need it. And they had Prince Fielder on at one time, and he's like completely overweight baseball player. Like, who wants to look at that?
I'm all about the females. The males, I don't need to pay any attention to.
I'm just wondering if anyone can tell me why ESPN makes this, if any reason other than virality. Like, who are they trying to target with this?
If I was in the body issue, though, I would
men read this, not women.
I would definitely post the photo of myself on my Instagram. Let's just put that out there.
Brooks Koepka already posted one. It's not even out yet.
Interesting. Check that out.
Okay. We talked about this before. Carly Lloyd, she is the U.S. women's soccer player who kicked a 55-yard field goal. She's back in the news again because she's even getting some preseason looks. Now, I'll play the video again, but she does take 5 steps to kick this. And a shout out to my dad for pointing this out to me. In an NFL game, you get about 1.5. You get a step and a plant. Now, she would never get this kick off, and it is kind of cheating to take 5 steps and bomb a 55-yarder, although that's very impressive. Now, Keenan Allen knows this, and he said this about it. Sounds sweet until someone blocks the kick, and all of a sudden you're back on defense. Now, imagine Carly Lloyd back on defense. He said it would be like the stampede scene in The Lion King. And he finished it by saying, she do got a boot, though.
It's a very good point. We see a lot of people on social kicking field goals and shouting out NFL players, but it's the same thing as NBA. Like, anyone can shoot a free throw. You get into an NBA game, everything changes. It's a whole different world. And I could not imagine. I would run the other direction. I would probably run out of the arena if a kick were to get blocked and I had a bunch of NFL guys running in my direction. I'd be out.
I mean, it's terrifying. You have to understand, these people on special teams, too, these guys are insane. They're trying to make the team. These are like the third string, safeties and tight ends that will do anything to make this roster. And if it means launching themselves at 20 miles per hour into someone's chest, man or woman, they're going to do it.
We've also seen a lot of kickers get crushed, like hit really hard after some either blocked kicks or return kicks, them trying to make up for their mistake.
Yeah. And then just a last point on this. There was a lot of rumors that Ronda Rousey years ago was going to fight Floyd Mayweather in kind of a McGregor-Mayweather style like promotional fight. And everyone ran with this. Everyone covered it in the media. And then she was asked about it, and she came out and said, I would never subject myself to, a televised event where a man is beating up a woman. It's just a bad look. And all the media was like, oh, well, you guys were promoting it, like the UFC was promoting it. But in any case, it does set kind of a bad example that a man is out there just destroying a woman.
Of course.
Yeah.
It's an awful thing to portray, and I think Ronda Rousey is a realist. She seems like a real person. I rock with Ronda Rousey, and all these the media people were just promoting this for views, but in no way, shape, or form should that be promoted. It's going back to Boogie, but we'll go another direction.
Okay. Now this one is some drama. We have the Oakland A's beefing with the Golden State Warriors. You didn't think you were going to see this on a Wednesday, but here we are. Liam Hendricks, a reliever from the A's, had this to say. When the Warriors sucked and the A's were good, the A's would give them tickets. When the Warriors became good, they decided to cut all ties and become assholes. So no love lost for them leaving. Of course, he's referencing the Warriors leaving Oakland and moving to San Francisco.
I mean, they're in two different worlds. The Warriors aren't even thinking about...
I mean, the Warriors, he's saying when they were really bad, like before they changed their jerseys to blue and yellow.
I don't think the Warriors are even thinking about A's games. I mean, the Warriors are focused on winning championships. It's what they do. And I don't know, this seems like a cry for attention to me. What's the point of this?
Well, he's just answering a question. Someone asked him about it.
What's the point of calling them out and saying it's nothing to lose them? Like, come on. They're the Golden State Warriors.
He is wrong. It's a
arguably one of
huge
the best
blow to
teams
Oakland
of all
losing
time.
them. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
100%.
He's talking about love, though. He's like, do we love them? No. Like, he's kind of saying they're fake.
I guarantee you, if you go to half of the A's team, and you offered them courtside tickets to a Warriors game, they would take them in a heartbeat.
And that's probably why he's mad. He didn't get those tickets. But, when you go to sporting events, you do see this. Like, I've been at a Penguins game before, and you'll see guys from, the Steelers or the Pirates sitting, like, on the glass, banging on the glass, getting everyone hyped up. It's nice to support the other teams in your city.
I guess the moral of the story
I think
is...
it's just a little bit more difficult to find tickets for someone at the Oracle than it would be. I don't know the A's stadium name, but I know it's pretty bad.
You guys have the biggest contracts probably in sports. Go buy a ticket, man, if you want to go to a game that bad. Go support them if you want to go to a game that bad. Moral of the story, don't be salty.
That is true. I mean, it would just be nice because it sounds like they did the same thing for them. But also, that's probably not on the players. This is probably on management.
It also might be one
Players
of those
aren't
things,
making these calls.
It might be one of those things where it's like the baseball guys like, oh, here, come to the game, here's some tickets. Steph's like, cool, A's tickets, woo! It's like one of those things, it's like someone gives you something, it's like, would you go on your own? Like if someone that you didn't mind offending gave you tickets, you'd be like, no,
I'm busy
I don't
that
want
night.
that. Yeah.
Who do you think would be the best at baseball on the Warriors? Would it be Steph, just because he's already got the stick skills?
You know what? I think Draymond. Draymond has like the body of a power hitter in baseball. Reminds me of like a David Ortiz.
Yeah, he's like 6'5". That's not too tall to play baseball. I mean, you very rarely in baseball see guys over like 6'7".
Yeah. Pitchers normally are bigger guys.
Yeah. I can see Draymond being like a closer too.
Yeah.
Just come in, look,
or KD being
look
a pitcher,
terrifying.
I can see.
KD being a pitcher?
Yeah. Imagine that 7 feet on the mound. It's intimidating. And those long arms.
That would actually be really interesting.
I could see it.
All right. Hope you guys like the show. Let's drop our ads here so people can know where to find us. At FMS_Frank Smith.
At Austin J. Mills on all social. At Austin Mills on YouTube.
If you guys want the highlights, if you want the version with all the edits on it, check out Facebook, and we'll post some snippets on Instagram. As always, let us know what you think. Respond to some of the segments. Keep the comments up. We'll put you in that comment club. I'm sorry that was a bit rough today. It's a Wednesday morning. We'll be back at you next time.
Peace.